No, this is exciting. And it's been great fun to sort of get a crash course deep dive into the Oracle Cloud infrastructure as well. I think this is overall very exciting. We don't have a way of talking about 25 years of engineering and stuff together, but I would like to point out, and by the way, my name's Doug O'Flaherty. I'm the Director of Product Marketing for IBM Storage. I'll see most of you at SC19 in about a month and a few days. It'll be great fun. I'm looking forward to it. But today we're going to talk about Oracle Cloud and what's really we've been talking about here and how it goes. And to start with, IBM Spectrum Scale has been a certified platform underneath Oracle databases for probably, 15 years, Oracle RAC from beginning to end. And you get that sense of, it's GPFS. It's too many people who are still using the old terms. I'd like to make a bit of a case that we should be starting to call it IBM Spectrum Scale finally, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years after we named it. But I'll continue to make that case out there. Let me start a little bit with sort of some grounding in IBM Strategy. Because one of the things that has really been cool about today has been thinking about the open ecosystem, all the things that you've seen up there. A couple things that struck me were underneath automotive, there's Spark. It's not the usual set of HPC. We're really at blurring lines here. And for IBM and the IBM strategy and where we're headed for, you hear this from Jim Whitehurst at Red Hat, and you hear this from Ginny Rometty, and you hear it across the board from Arvind, John Kelly, et cetera, is a belief in sort of 5 important tenets that we think all of our customers are interested in, and that I think also is highly reflected in this room and the work that Oracle Cloud is doing. And the first is open, right? We're talking here about open source, open opportunities, open choices, an open ecosystem, the ability to bring more to the table, a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of scenario. We're talking about hybrid. For IBM in particular, we're deeply interested in how does an enterprise client augment and move and continue on a journey to the cloud, right? It's not just in the cloud or off the cloud. Tejas did a really nice job of presenting that question. What do you mean you have a fully utilized cluster and you don't need any more? You're never going to burst to the cloud? Okay, who's zooming whom here, guys, right? That was a great point. And that is that sort of hybrid cloud moment that is fundamental to the IBM strategy and the IBM direction. The other is multi-cloud. This is a perfect example of what we have today of a cloud kind of purpose-built with some clear differentiation and some clear goals to be able to serve a particular client. And that's when, for us, that's really important. We need to know, and we know from our clients, and I don't remember who made the statement today, it may have even been you, Taylor, that the average enterprise has upwards of 7 clouds, right? Some of those are SaaS clouds, some of those are infrastructure clouds, some are PaaS clouds, and what we see here is a really excellent example of a purpose-built HPC cloud. Some real good points there. The next level that we think about is it's open, hybrid, multi-cloud. It's secure. And this is where we start to get into the engineering work that we do together and the conversations that we're having about bringing IBM Spectrum Scale, these dedicated instances. There's a lot of IP that we're hoping to bring, that Oracle Cloud wants to bring and IBM wants to help bring to these cloud and more flexible models. So with IBM Spectrum Scale, we see some key advantages in that hybridization model for what's on premises and the ability to also serve it here in the Oracle Cloud. And the last is AI infused, managed. We're all talking about it. I thought that was great in terms of where are we next with AI. The infrastructure has to be more AI enabled. It's cool, Altair's going to be talking some stuff later. Spectrum LSF has been a foundational part of the IBM stack for a long time. It was cool to see Symphony up there. Infrastructure needs to have more IA in it, and that's sort of where we're headed for as well, so that you can make these things more seamless. I wish I could quote, it was Bill from Intel, made the quote that humans are the most valuable resource. And that's a really fundamental fact of what we're doing, and I think this is the big challenge for any of us from an infrastructure point of view. We need to augment and not think just about productivity, but how do we make entire teams more productive? Opening up the opportunities, as alluded to from NVIDIA, for enterprise AI and where it goes. And foundational to all of this is the data, right? the data you're going to be working against, and this is why we're particularly excited to be working here in this situation as well. Because you have to have the data, have to have enough of it, you have to have access to it, you have to move it to the right compute platforms, the right environments where it could be. And this is an exciting extension to sort of the whole ecosystem for the IBM Spectrum Scale family and where we go. So the second big point here is this crossover of new workloads. So if the data is the gravity, we have some things that are going to be embarrassingly parallel, some things that are going to be tightly coupled, and what we're seeing more and more of, and we see this exampled in research in particular, we see it with the work that we're doing with accelerated computing in automotive, you're going to see a mix, right? Some things are going to be mod sim, embarrassingly parallel, and some things are going to be AI, and now we're starting to see new, maybe not new algorithms, but new workflows that comes out of that. And so therefore the ability to have a file system like IBM Spectrum Scale that knows how to distribute things quickly, removes bottlenecks from multiple users, can work to feed a GPU very well, but also handles the small file stuff, right? I think everybody in this room knows a case study of bad programming by a really intelligent developer, like anybody in life sciences some days. It's like, no, please do not walk 4,000 directories just to look for a file. And yet that happens. And for us, on the storage side, we know that those are our new targets. So we have done a lot to improve, like Spectrum Scale 5 really came out with a new structure for metadata. We started working especially on how do you do small file performance, both cached on the server and quickly written to in the permanent file system. We've worked a lot on metadata to be able to support this kind of environment. And so we're particularly excited when we see something like Oracle Cloud here, where they are building a network and a dedicated environment to be able to support those very strange workloads in a very mixed model. And so I just want to salute them for the engineering behind their approach to it. I think if you've been around GPFS any length of time, one of the things people do talk about is that it is probably the world's best tester of networks. We can drive the heck out of a network. And I think that means also that we can feed the GPUs, we can feed the CPUs, we can keep the teams moving. But it's really nice to see a partnership like this, an opportunity like this, that really does build the network layer in there so that we can make sure the storage shines as well. And I think as we move forward, we'll find more opportunities to highlight that and to see how it goes. The third point I want to land just briefly as well is definitely in this hybrid workload and scheduler world. How we do that, or how clients do that, how the world does that, I think is going to be the big differentiation for kind of the next generations of file systems. There's a lot of conversations about stuff that happens within the data center, but very few things are really locked into one data center anymore. Taylor and I were talking earlier about a client we have in common who's looking to make sure that they have 3 or more availability areas. They're looking at the latency between them. There's a question about synchronization between them earlier here. You're a multi-data center world. And that means because teams are distributed, where you want to run something that's distributed, some will be on premises and some will be running in the cloud. And for us in IBM Storage, that ability to make the storage smart enough to move parts of the data, the working sets, to be able to quickly identify through metadata management what is the working set that you need in the Oracle Cloud versus what you need on premises, to drive efficiencies in data transfer. Because no matter what we do, the data is actually the hardest thing to move. I can pick up a program a lot faster than I can pick up a few terabytes, let alone a petabyte of data. So the work that we're doing in IBM to be able to support this kind of flex model is in that intelligence and in that metadata extensions and in the ability for end users to understand how to create data sets and then choose and move as needed and let the storage do a lot more of that infrastructure underneath. So that's a quick little recap of the IBM strategy. Open, hybrid, multi-cloud, secure to the core, AI managed. Why we think this is a particularly interesting and important way to work together, which is to be able to find those multi-clouds, those opportunities that are purpose-built in the open ecosystem, and how we look to be able to expand some of the things that we're going to hope to do with Oracle Cloud in the future to be able to make sure that we can deliver for our joint clients the kind of experience that they need, so that that model of flexing some to the cloud or flexing a lot to the cloud or all to the cloud or some on premises, and depending on which way you want to go, becomes easier because of the types of technology advances that we can do and do together. So there's my 15 minutes of fame. We'll definitely come back to this again in a month and more. It's kind of an exciting period. As we all know, this is like the HPC buzz all over North America. So this is a great way to kick off the season.
Excellent.
So thank you very much, David.
Thank you very much, David. Really,